Old Hollywood, it appeared to be a showcase of glamour, romance, and flawless stars. But behind the curtain, there were such relationships, such forbidden loves, and such Playboy stories that even today's tabloids look innocent in comparison. This video reveals the secret nights, hushed scandals, and mysterious love triangles of Hollywood's legendary stars. If you're ready, we're pulling back time's dusty curtains to uncover the most wild truths. Errol Flynn, Hollywood's true bad boy king Errol. Flynn was unquestionably old Hollywood's greatest Playboy figure. His magnificent parties, endless adventures, and dizzying charisma turned him into a legend. Flynn was never the well-behaved leading man. He was more the man of dangerous charm and forbidden pleasures. From the 1930s onward, nearly every film set, every gala, and every European tour hosted Flynn's new romantic adventure. The wild rumors about him were so widespread that Hollywood eventually gave up trying to control him and started saying, "That's just how Errol is." Flynn's life was like a hurricane filled with alcohol. See adventures, fame, intoxication, and endless romantic pursuits. And the most interesting part is that the Playboy mythology Flynn created has survived to this day. The phrase "in like Flynn" was born from his extremely quick seduction skills. He was both the most dangerous and the most attractive man in old Hollywood. If there's one name when it comes to being a Playboy, it's undoubtedly Errol Flynn. Clark Gable, Hollywood's king, and the love storm behind the throne Clark Gable went down in history, not only as Hollywood's king, but also as one of the era's greatest heartbreakers. Gable's striking masculinity, confidence, and natural charm turned him into women's indispensable dream. But behind his brilliant screen image were endless relationships, secret meetings, and passionate encounters behind the scenes, especially during his MGM years. Gable's name being mentioned with almost every film partner had become a routine situation. Although studios tried to control his Playboy ways, they also deliberately fed this image for box office sales. Gable's love life was so active that in Hollywood's backstage areas, they used to joke, if Clark has a scene, a love story has been born backstage. If Flynn was the face of dangerous charm, Gable was the most powerful representative of the charismatic and unattainable male figure. When the two are compared, Gable's Playboy ways were more refined, but equally filled with scandal. Warren Beatty, Hollywood's last great Playboy. Warren Beatty was a phenomenon who emerged during the end of old Hollywood and surpassed all previous legends when it came to being a Playboy. The most common rumor about him was that he had been with over 1,000 women in his youth. This number became legendary in the era's tabloid world. Beatty wasn't just handsome. He was also intelligent, artistic, and politically influential. This made him nearly unstoppable for women. His relationships with famous actresses, wild nights, and set romances became the tabloid's goldmine. Beatty didn't have a dangerous energy like Flynn. He was more the mysterious, emotional, and hopelessly romantic type. This made his Playboy ways deeper, more emotional, and more manipulative. For a while in Hollywood, this saying was very popular. Every woman has either been with Beatty or wondered about it. What set him apart from the others was this combination, both a heartbreaker and a romantic disaster. Frank Sinatra loves Blue-Eyed Hurricane Frank. Sinatra was blowing through Hollywood like a hurricane, not only with his voice, but also with his love life. His name was mentioned alongside both the most elegant women and the era's most dangerous relationships. Sinatra's romantic life was so active that newspapers competed with each other to track his every move. His stormy relationship with Ava Gardner graced the headlines for years. Fights, passion, jealousy, and tears were all intertwined. But Gardner was just one. Sinatra was accused of carrying on several different relationships at the same time during the same period, according to backstage sources. Sinatra's charisma was so powerful that when women chatted with him for just a few minutes, they would lose their minds. At some nightclubs, chaos would break out the day Sinatra arrived. Women would compete with each other to catch his attention. Even the studios had difficulty controlling his private life. Sinatra's love life became one of Hollywood's most talked about legends, and still is. The blue-eyed man was the undisputed king, not only of music, but also of romance. Marlon Brando, master of boundless passions. Marlon Brando's private life is full of Hollywood's most extraordinary stories. Brando wasn't just an actor. He was a free spirit who didn't fit his emotions, desires, and relationships into any mold. His relationships with both women and men circulated among Hollywood's unspoken secrets of that era. Brando's charm was so powerful that his co-stars said working with him was both mesmerizing and dangerous. Because when Brando took an interest in someone, it created intense tension on sets. His relationships were usually passionate, complex, and uncontrollable. At one point, he was even claimed to be with 3 different people at the same time. Brando lived love like an adventure, without setting boundaries, without making explanations, without feeling regret. For years in Hollywood backstage areas, they said there was never just one person in Brando's life. There was always a world, and even today, when his former partners remember his unstoppable charm, they explain very well why Brando was one of the golden age's most free and most talked about playboys. Howard Hughes, the mysterious billionaire's endless conquests. Howard Hughes was one of Hollywood's richest, most powerful, and most impossible to control figures. Director, inventor, pilot, and billionaire, ... But what the public talked about most was always the same: Hughes's incredible love life. He wasn't someone who had just a few relationships. Claims that he was with hundreds of women are etched into Hollywood history. Jean Harlow, Katharine Hepburn, Ava Gardner. Hughes's list was filled with the era's most coveted stars. Hughes's approach to women was considered obsessive. When he took an interest in someone, he would research everything about them, follow them, and even go far enough to interfere in their lives. Because of this possessive attitude, some of his relationships turned into real disasters. It's even told that he invited multiple stars to his house at the same time, hosted them in different rooms, and made plans so that no one would see each other. Hughes's love life was as large and complex as his fortune. Even today, Hollywood experts are still debating one question: was Hughes really in love, or was he a victim of an endless obsession with women? Robert Mitchum, Hollywood's rebel playboy. Robert Mitchum's playboy reputation was a legend even bigger than his tough demeanor in films. Mitchum wasn't just a charismatic actor. He was a bad boy who lived at night, didn't care about rules, and acted completely on instinct. His love life was filled with secret relationships, momentary flings, and party nights that lasted until morning. When Mitchum started a relationship with a woman, he didn't care who she was: actress, model, singer, set worker. His passion would turn toward whoever he found. Paparazzi frequently photographed him at nightclubs, by the beach, or at highway bars with different women. Moreover, Mitchum didn't care about these photos at all. He would continue on his way with an attitude of scandal. "I don't care." Studios tried to control his image, but Mitchum had too rebellious a spirit to bow to Hollywood's rules. That's why his love life became an indispensable topic of gossip for years. John Barrymore, the Bohemian King, and Endless Adventures. John Barrymore was one of Hollywood's most talented, but also most out-of-control stars. His life was like a bohemian dream. He lived completely at extremes: alcohol, women, theater, parties, and nights that didn't see morning. Barrymore's love life was almost as crazy as his art, being frequently seen in the press in a drunk state, constantly changing partners by his side, and his marriages collapsing in chaos. All of it was part of the Barrymore legend. Some who witnessed the era say, when Barrymore started a relationship, the woman would find herself in a whirlpool before understanding what she was getting into. In that period, there was hardly another star in Hollywood who lived as fast, uncontrolled, and passionately as he did. Barrymore romantic relationships would be short-lived, but their impact would last long, and each scandal would grow both his career and his legend a little more. Charlie Chaplin, comedy genius, favorite of love scandals. Charlie Chaplin's love life perhaps made more headlines than his career. He was always interested in young, delicate, and innocent-looking women. This preference never left journalists' tongues. Chaplin's marriages were eventful. Divorces would turn into a real scandal show in courtrooms. The claims that emerged in court records would shock Hollywood. Jealousy fits, sudden breakups, messy relationships. Chaplin's private life was so complicated that studios had to hire extra teams to hide his relationship scandals from the press. Some claimed that Chaplin's casting of young actresses in his films was much more than a professional choice. Every rumor that came out about his love life turned into a major topic of discussion, reflected both Chaplin's genius and his complexity. Spencer Tracy, master of silent loves, man of secret passions, Spencer Tracy was, from the outside, a calm, mature, and elegant actor. However, behind the curtain, he had one of Hollywood's most complex love lives. Although his legendary relationship with Hepburn was in the public eye, in reality, Tracy's life was much darker, much more secretive. Despite being married, he was claimed to have had many secret relationships. Some say these relationships were known by the studio, but large sums of money were paid to prevent them from leaking to the press. Tracy was a passionate but indecisive man. He would often live his loves silently, not express his feelings, and end his relationships by disappearing. It was precisely because of this mysterious attitude that for years he became one of Hollywood's most curious love figures. His name was etched into Golden Age history as the man who appears calm but hides his passion. Here are the real stories of the greatest playboys hidden under Hollywood's bright lights. What we learned today shows once again how dark, passionate, and uncontrolled an era the Golden Age actually was. In front of the camera was perfection, but behind the camera, storms were raging. These stars weren't just the heroes of films, they were also the leading roles in the chaotic love worlds they created themselves. Every scandal was tried to be covered up by studios. Every forbidden relationship was hidden from journalists, but the truth was never completely lost. Even years later, their names are still remembered not only for their acting, but also for their endless love adventures. Because Hollywood's most unforgettable figures are sometimes the ones who stirred things up the most. If these stars' private lives were this crazy, then who else is hiding behind the curtain? This is just one of old Hollywood's never-ending secrets. Get ready to learn more, because the dark side of this world is still waiting to be discovered.